me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Welcome. We are live once again for Let Me Talk to You, episode 35. My name is Frankie Fresco, and of course, I'm here with my brother, DiTrapio. What's up, Nick? How you doing, bro?
What's up, brother? Everything good?
Yeah, man, everything's all gravy, sir. So we have a lot to talk about, sir. We have a couple things we're going to talk about. Let's give you a quick rundown of what we're going to be going ahead and talking about. So, number one, we're obviously going to go ahead and talk about NXT, what happened last night. Some crazy events that happened. It was trending and crazy on X. So we'll talk about NXT and what exactly happened. We also going to go ahead and then talk a little bit about the Miami Dolphins, the preseason game that we went to. Also, some comments that were made by Tyreek Hill to Noah Lyles. We'll talk about that a little bit, and any other thing we could you guys want to talk about when it comes to the Dolphins. Then we'll talk a little bit about the Olympics. When it comes to the actual USA basketball team, both the women and the men, because they both did a fairly good job. They both won the gold medal, but we'll dive deep a little bit more. There was some controversy that me and my brother were talking about a little bit during the Olympics, so I want to go ahead and talk to him about that. And then, of course, we're gonna go ahead and then talk a little bit about the game that just happened earlier today. This is obviously the game between Atalanta and Real Madrid for the championship. That was won as well. So if you guys want to tune in for that as well, and then obviously there is a special offer that is being made out to Vinicius Jr. So we could talk about that as well. So don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share this with your friends and family, as we will be going ahead and obviously be doing the show continuously. Remember, 8 o'clock every Wednesday. Next week, we're going to have to see if we coordinate it. We might not have a show because, as I mentioned on the Squared Circle, I am going to be in California, so I don't know for sure if we're going to be at 100% able to do it. If we're able to do it, then I'll post something on social media letting you guys know that we'll go ahead and we'll do the show. If unfortunately we can't, then we'll just schedule it for next week, obviously. So before we start with NXT, my brother, how you been, man? Anything new?
No, sir. Just trying to be active, going to the gym, trying to get my summer body, even though summer's almost done already.
I see that, bro. You're trying to are you trying to pull a Sean Stanley where you're trying to go on like a tank top there and show your guns? Is that what you're trying to do? Sean always does that to me. He always goes and he always tries to show the guns on the show. I can't. I have to go to the gym in order for me to be able to show any type of gun. So I have to. So I don't know about you. Is that what you're trying to do, sir? Are you trying to show me out a little bit out here? Is that what you're trying to do, sir?
No, sir. Just trying to I'm not gonna lie to you. I literally I was eating a little bit not that long ago, so I was gonna change, but I realized the time, so I went ahead and just jumped on the camera.
The funny thing about it is, like, I sent you a message at 7:30. I'm like, I hope Nick shows up. If he doesn't show up, then fuck it. I guess I'm gonna have to do this on my own. I know it was like late, dude. I was just running, trying to get everything done. I've been busy with work and all that stuff, and then obviously, with the whole like my regular 9 to 5 job, and then the guys, if you don't know, like, we still have lives, even though there's certain people out there like a Raul of last week on the Squared Circle Digest said that me and Sean didn't have any life, that all we do is watch wrestling. No, we actually do have a life. We have to work. We have to do a lot of things. We have our, our families and all that stuff. So it's time consuming, but at the same time, it's never, never, never um, an issue. We always try to make it happen, especially here at Let Me Talk to You, of course. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what happened last night on NXT. Sir, first and foremost, did you get to watch NXT, sir? Did you get to watch it?
I actually did. I tuned into NXT yesterday.
What?
Yeah, I saw the Lola Vice fight. I
You are?
saw.
Okay, so then I'm out of here. Yeah, no,
um,
no, no, we're good, we're good. Oh, I switched it up. Oh, Jesus, how do I switch this back? See, this is what happens when you switch things up. I don't know. Wait, hold on, I got you. All right, there you go.
saw the
There we go.
Opa
We're back. We're
Femi
back.
fight.
Yeah, man, it was a good.
Wesley just going all out, and Joe Hendry, man, just keeps on popping up.
All right, so let's start with that. Obviously, at the beginning of the show, we had a big surprise that as what my brother was saying. It's basically that Joe Henry reappeared one more time in NXT, but this time he reappeared to go and basically confront Ethan Page, the NXT champion, one on one. And obviously he was there and he wants to challenge for that belt, sir. So when he went to go ahead and challenge it and all that, Ethan Page was telling him, hey man, you need to go back to TNA. That's where you belong. You don't belong in NXT. And then at the same time, what ended up happening is what Nick says. Wesley at the last minute, right at the end, right when Ethan Page and Joe Hendry were about to kind of like do their thing and walk away, a surprise leg kick, straight into the face of Joe Henry by Wesley, putting himself in, making his mark, especially after he just screwed over the Rascals. Sir, what did you think about that, man? Did you expect Wesley to do that to Joe Henry? And second of all, do you think Wesley deserves to be now in the talk of the championship?
Um, when he went heel, I think that's kind of him, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna unleash the beast and do me." I mean, I know there was a small segment of him explaining why he made the decision and doing what he did last week, and so he kind of was just like you say, trying to leave a mark and saying, "Hey, look, I was once a champion, and now I kind of want to aim for the top, and why not go for the NXT championship?" Obviously, there's been a lot of hype around Joe Henry, and having to just go out like a bang with that type of move, which was a good shot, by the way. I really liked, how Joe Henry sold it and how it was executed. So I think, does he deserve it? Um, I don't know where they're going with this, honestly. I don't think he deserves it, in my opinion. I think there should be more to it. However, I wouldn't be surprised if like some sort of triple threat type of match appears, maybe for a number one contender, and then they go ahead and they pick someone out of the three that they think that can go against Ethan. But we'll see. I'm liking where it goes. The only thing it didn't sit me too well was his explanation on why he kind of did what he did with the Rascals. So it just didn't sit well. It didn't feel like a big move. Especially like how we have uh a lot going on with SmackDown and Raw with Judgment Day and their kind of breakup. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's being overshadowed, but it is. So I that's just my opinion.
Well, you mentioned a kind of three-way. Well, sir, this is what happened when all of a sudden Wesley and of course Butch, which he doesn't like to be called anymore, Pete Dunne, when he showed up, all of a sudden you had Joe Henry make a return back and attack Wesley and Pete Dunne. So what ended up happening is now NXT set
Oh
it
no,
up for at NXT No Mercy for the championship. It's going to be for the number one contender, I guess. The winner faces Ethan Page at NXT No Mercy. So this will be next week, next Tuesday. You're going to get Joe Henry versus Wesley versus Pete Dunne, and the winner will face Ethan Page at NXT No Mercy. Sir, we usually don't do too much predictions here, but talk to me, sir. Who do you got from one of these three guys? Which one deserves it? And who is your winner? And who do you think and who's your underdog? If you had to pick a one that's an underdog.
if I had to pick a underdog, it's Pete Dunne. I think right now He is trying to prove a lot of people that he belongs with the top tier wrestlers, and obviously, I still think Joe Hendry is gonna win. I think he's gonna win automatically, but I think Pete Dunne is one of those wrestlers where it could shock a lot of people. And Wesley, I think they're just putting him in there because, like I told you, they don't know what to do with him. They went from babyface to now heel to now throwing him in a triple threat. So I think he's just there. But definitely Joe Hendry is the winner, and my underdog is definitely Pete Dunne.
All right. In my opinion, I'm gonna be honest with you. I still think NXT is not gonna give it to Joe Henry. So I have Joe Henry as my underdog. I think he's gonna be the one that mostly will possibly win it. If I have to go with a favorite, it has to be Pete Dunne. I mean, he's been taking care of business. He took care of business with Trick Williams and all that stuff. And I think, um, honestly, he's riding a high right now. I don't see Wesley obviously um, being the winner of this three-way. Although it could possibly be him, because if you look at it, Pete Dunne has the issue with Sheamus and with Trick Williams. Joe Henry obviously has the stuff with TNA. So, Wesley would probably be the right guy unless the Rascals come in some way, somehow, and screw him over, which I wouldn't be surprised if that would
Mhm.
happen. I think they could do that. So for me, my favorite is definitely going to be Pete Dunne. I think Pete Dunne pulls it off because I don't see Trick Williams coming in there and like screwing him over. If anything, Trick Williams would probably want Pete Dunne to win. That way, Pete Dunne can defeat Ethan Page, and then eventually Trick Williams can go after the championship against Pete Dunne. And my underdog, of course, would be Joe Henry. All right. So besides that, while obviously talking about championships, there was a championship that was actually, well, you could say, I guess, I don't know if it's a championship, it's more of a trophy, but sir, we had a change in the trophy event here, sir. We had Tony
Yes, sir.
D'Angelo lose to Charlie Dempsey. So Charlie Dempsey retains the cup, which he originally had at one point in time. So he becomes a two-time Heritage Cup winner, sir. What did you think about that? Did you like the fact that Charlie Dempsey won and defeated Tony D'Angelo? Tony D'Angelo had the cup for a minute there too.
Yeah, I think it was time. I think, shout out to DJ Memo, bro. You're too funny. So when it came to the Heritage Cup, I think it was a great fit. But however, you know how sometimes you just feel like he's just holding it for too long, and I think this was the right time. Um, I'm not sure where he's gonna go. I wouldn't be surprised if the group stays intact. I don't think he's gonna go solo anytime soon. But I really do gotta give a shout out to NXT. He was gonna express, his opinion on how he lost, but then Obafemi went ahead and interrupted him, and then he was just
They
like,
did it. They did.
open challenge," and then he was, this guy was like, "Yo, what the hell?" And that's it. They cut it to commercial, and that was too funny, bro. I'm liking the comic the comedy when it comes the humor when it comes to NXT now. So that was funny. I had to shout out NXT for that. But yeah,
Well,
I think this is gonna be special for that for Tony.
well, now that you mention it, I think the reason that because Obafemi fought against, he had the open challenge, and of course he had to go. He went against
Otis.
Otis, and unfortunately Otis was a little bit banged up. I don't know if you saw that. His shoulder was kind of banged up, and there was a scene where he got thrown into the steel cage stairs, and he was holding his shoulder for like a split second, and then Obafemi tried to pick him up, and when he tried to pick him up, it looks like Otis told him something. So then you see Obafemi just leave him there and go inside the ring. And then the ref came out. I don't know if you caught that in that match. And then all of a sudden, when he did that, Obafemi was able to come back down and then pull Otis in the ring. So shout out to Otis. I'm pretty sure he fought with some type of bruises, especially since in the Monday night on that fight with American Made, there was a part where he was supposed to do like a suplex over, and unfortunately it wasn't done correctly, and you could tell that Otis kind of felt awkwardly for a split second, like he banged his head really bad, and maybe that was his shoulder, and that's why his shoulder was banged up. So definitely, um, a shout out to Obafemi for winning. obviously the Heritage Cup, like you said, Charlie Dempsey deserves it, but it wasn't because of Charlie Dempsey by himself. He definitely had the help of Ren Sinclair, the newest member of that group. And she just, I don't know if you noticed, Ren Sinclair, there was a point in time when she went and she started slapping the crap out of Charlie Dempsey to wake him up and be like, yo, you need to wake up, you got to win this. And then that was the main difference. And then obviously she pulled Tony D'Angelo's leg, and that's when Tony D'Angelo fell, and then obviously Charlie Dempsey was able to win. Now, when it comes to Tony D'Angelo, I think where they're going to go next with this is probably what you just finished saying, which was when Obafemi cut him off. So I'm thinking that the next opponent for Obafemi will be Tony D'Angelo. This was a good way for Tony D'Angelo to now be able to compete for the North American Championship belt that Obafemi has. The other match that was also there was, of course, Lola Vice taking on Tatum Paxley. Very hard hitting fight. You had Keelani Jordan on the actual broadcast. She was sitting there the whole time and just chilling while they were commentating when they were fighting. Of course, what ended up happening was that Wendy Chu actually went and grabbed and attacked Kalani Jordan during the match. And then she basically signaled that she wants the North American Championship belt. Nick, because of this attack, because of obviously attack that Wendy Chu did to Kalani Jordan. Now, obviously Lola Vice won this match, but now what we're getting next week is basically Lola Vice one-on-one against Wendy Chu. Since this match was since obviously she interfered when they were going with Kalani Jordan in the on the commentating. So what you think, sir? Lola Vice or Wendy Chu? Who do you got winning this one?
They're really pushing for this Wendy Chu chick. I mean, she's very creepy. She's really setting out the tone. I think Lola Vice is still, I want to say, supported really heavily by the fan base. So I still got Lola winning, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wendy Chu just continues terrorizing and terrorizing and terrorizing to the point where, like, whoever would be the current champion would be like, all right, fine, let's give her an opportunity, right? So I think Lola will still pull out next week, but memo.
I'm on the opposite end. I think Lola Vice is going to lose this fight. I think they've been building up Wendy Chu to go ahead and attack Kalani Jordan on a consistent basis. So I think this is where she'll finally get over and defeat Lola Vice. And then obviously, I think the next person that Wendy Chu would go ahead and look after or go after would be Kalani Jordan. And no, Wendy Chu does not look like someone Frankie would date. Absolutely not. She's too creepy for me to actually date. I would date Lola Vice. Shout out to Lola Vice. She is smoking hot. I'm not gonna lie. The other match that was presented for next week, which is a really good match, sure. And I really wanted to ask you about this because this is a match. This is what I'm looking forward to next week. This match right here, and this is this. Memo, all of these I would date. Here you go. You got all these chicks right here. They're all going one on
yeah,
one.
like gauntlet eliminated.
So what they did is that they had like a kind of like a, how do you say it in English? Un sorteo, like
like a raffle,
like a raffle, and they took out their names, and one by one, you got all these chicks going one on one. You had Ren Sinclair, Adriana Rizzo, Sol Ruca, Jada Parker, Kendall Gray, and Carmen Petrovic. So I'm gonna go here on a limb. Obviously, you know who's my favorite right here. My favorite, bro. I've been talking about it. She's dynamic. She stands out. That's my girl, Sol Ruca, bro. She is the bomb. She's the one that does the acrobatics out there. She's done a lot of things. She's had a couple wins, a couple losses, but she is the main person I want to see go ahead and get a chance to go up against Roxanne Perez, because Sol Ruca actually had a really good chance against Kalani Jordan. So that's one of the reasons why I don't think Sol Ruca is going to win, though. I want her to win, but I don't think she's going to win. It will be too obvious for them to go ahead, and I think too quick to put Sol Ruca to be on the title contention against Roxanne Perez. Because to be honest with you, I love this matchup, but I don't think any of these girls are going to eventually beat Roxanne Perez. But if I have to pick who is going to win, I'm going to go out on a limb. It's either going to be Ren Sinclair or Jada Parker. One of those two girls, in my opinion, takes the victory of this one, and they would go up against obviously Roxanne Perez as NXT No Mercy. Sir, who do you have as your favorite to win this match?
I don't. I think they're all great. Like what Sean says, female superstars. I think
Sir, they're all
um
chicks at the same time. They're female wrestlers, but they're all chicks as well. So they're all smoking female wrestlers. I love it. One of my favorite
each
matches
of
for
these
next week.
wrestlers weren't picked by luck. It was picked on purpose, and so I think this is gonna be one match where they're gonna throw an extreme curveball. I'm not sure what direction they'll go with, but I believe they're gonna do an extreme curveball on this match. This match is very promising, and we'll see how it goes next week.
Anyone in particular you think might pull it off?
Um, I like Parker. I like Jada Parker.
She's good too. She's not bad either. This is the most exciting match for next week, in my opinion. I think we're really gonna find out who's gonna be. This is I like these matches because not only does it allow the female wrestlers to go ahead and showcase themselves, but it also gives opportunities to like the ones that you really don't listen a lot or watch a lot, Russell. Like for example, Carmen Petrovic. She's good, but she's not somebody that has a lot of momentum on her side. Adriana Rizzo, she's been out there a couple times. Her face is well known, but Kendall Gray. Kendall Gray is another one that like if you had to like the three that really stand out on a continuous basis would be Soruka, Jada Parker, and Ren Sinclair. Those are the three that typically they like to showcase them a lot more and actually wrestle. So we'll see how it goes with that match. But, sir, the most important and biggest thing that happened on NXT, sir, it was time. We were talking about this last week. We knew that this was going to happen. You and me, I think we both predicted it. And it's exactly what happened, sir. It was the championship, tag team championship belts finally going to Chase U. Chase U finally takes the W and not the L when it comes to the tag team champions. They were able to beat Nathan Frazier and XCM. Sir, you want to know something? I'm gonna say this. I was surprised because they've been selling us to us that XCM was gonna have like either XCM or Nathan Frazier was gonna go ahead and kind of betray one another. And during this match, it really went straight forward. They were continuously like on point. They arrived to the NXT at the same time. They were training together at the same time. Even when they've been doing that accidental kicks and hitting one another, they actually were able to plan it perfectly where he grabs the kick and then he spins them and then he kicks the I think it was Rich Holland at that time. So it was, bro, it was the best match of the night. Not gonna lie to you. They really, I mean, Rich Holland definitely, there with Andre Chase. He finally closed the deal. And I said it last week. I said, man, I obviously Duke was upset that he wasn't the guy, but this week he was cheering. He was more of he was excited. He was happy for them. He was, he wanted them to win. So I don't know. Maybe there won't be any rift between a Duke and Rich Holland. But talk to me, sir. Were you excited? Were you happy to finally see Chase U get those tag team belts once again? And what happens with XCM and Nathan Frazier? Are they officially gonna start breaking them up?
I don't know. I think right now it's always good to show some sort of adversity when you're always winning. I think it builds character development between them two. Maybe they separate and they go on to their own paths, or maybe this helps them, set like an example, like minor setback for a major comeback type of storyline. So it could be either or. It is refreshing to see Chase U, which is another group that really gets a lot of support by the NXT audience, and so I'm very happy for Chase U. At one point they were bankrupt, and now they're champions, baby. So,
Yo, wait, hold on a second. I'm looking at something. I think, yo, check this out, man. I had no idea. If you look, I'm gonna zoom in here for a second. Hold on a second. It looks like DJ Memo was in the crowd. There he is over there. You see him over there? DJ Memo right there. He was
where?
actually look at him right there. Do you see him? That's right. That's DJ Memo right there. He was actually at the NXT live event. Memo, why didn't you tell us you were gonna be there, sir? We're proud of you that you were there, sir. Absolutely. You should have given us play by play that you were actually there, sir. Just letting you know, sir. Just letting you know. All right. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump over to the Miami Dolphins. Of course, the Dolphins had a preseason game this past weekend. Very exciting. It was on my birthday on Friday, August the 9th. Sir, talk to me, man. What you think about the preseason, man? What you thought about the Miami Dolphins performance out there, and what you thought about some of the highlights and I guess some of the disappointing things that you saw there.
Well, I mean, the game was entertaining from start to finish. There was a lot of defense from both sides. Um, a lot of sloppy offense. I'm not gonna lie to you when it comes to the passing from both groups. Obviously, Michael Penix Jr. did start off pretty well, pretty accurate, but then from there on, he kind of like just. I know he only had like 5 or 6 throws, but usually by the fifth and sixth throw he just didn't look as in sync as he was in the first couple of throws. But overall, I think the Dolphins played well. There was a lot of excitement at the end of the game. We had our boy cornerback Storm Duck make some plays. We had Jalen Wright, the running back, make some plays. We had Patrick Paul making some plays. We also had if I'm not
Channing Tindall with the sack.
Channing Tindall. We had the safety, the rookie safety. I'm not sure if his name is Murphy or McGuan. I'm not sure. I would have to get back with you to that. But overall was a cool game. It was humid. There was a lot of people. Obviously, in this picture, it's kind of towards the ending of the game. It's a preseason. Many people just kind of just want to not catch too much traffic. But us loyal Dolphin fans, we stick to the end. And so it
Yes,
was overall.
this is actually the last. This was the last drive where we actually stopped them when they went for
Mhm.
it on. I think they went for it on fourth down, and they didn't weren't able to get the 2 feet on the ground when it was thrown to the end zone. But this was our view. They were on our side of the field towards the end, so that was pretty cool. That I was able to get this picture before the game was actually over. This play was the one that actually you know got us the W. But I'm sorry for cutting you off. Go ahead.
But overall, it was a good game, and obviously, it was a birthday dub for you, which was even sweeter. And yeah, I'm looking forward towards this Saturday against the Washington Commanders.
Absolutely, sir. Now, let me go ahead and share something with you guys. This is a video of what happened. Let's play this. One of the many plays that obviously they tried to go for it on fourth down. Good coverage right there, and that's who Nick said, Storm Duck, right? That was Storm Duck on the number 36 right there. I think he did a pretty good job out there, bro. Hey, I think that was Storm Duck. If I'm not mistaken, that was Storm Duck, right? That's who it was. I believe that was Storm Duck. But he was one of my favorites out there. I'm not gonna lie. I hope he makes it on the team. That would be pretty cool if he makes it on the team. The other thing I noticed on the team is exactly what you just said, man. Unfortunately, the offense the backup quarterbacks is an area of concern. Obviously, Skyler didn't do so great, and neither did Mike White. A little bit concerning there. I don't think the Dolphins are going to do anything about like bringing anybody. I know you guys, a lot of Dolphin fans are talking about Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, come on, guys, we're not bringing in Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill, at the end of the day, is just gonna go ahead and probably be a free agent and either sign with somebody or whatnot. But the Dolphins are not bringing him. I think the Dolphins are gonna stick with Skyler. I mean, let's keep it real. We had Skyler, guys. Did you forget that we had Skyler also 2 years ago and he had to take over when Tua was hurt? So um I really don't see that the Dolphins are gonna go ahead and just not re-sign a new another quarterback. I think they're gonna duke it out with who they got. Nick, what do you think, man? Do you think they're gonna try to get somebody else, or do you feel like at the end of the day it's gonna be eventually Skyler and Mike White?
I think it's gonna be Skyler with Mike White. Um, I don't, I don't see the Dolphins too worried about the backup role. They feel like Tua will finish off the full season. Obviously, just in case if anything happens, I still think they feel comfortable. Like you said, I mean, Skyler has been with the team now for 3 years. He has playoff experience on his rookie year. Mike White does not look too solid. We didn't see him too much in the Jets. He had a couple of good snaps here and there, but overall, I think Skylar Thompson's the guy, and obviously with everything, knock on wood, but I mean, obviously, we're not gonna worry too much if Tua continues to play the full season. But yeah, I hope Skylar Thompson is our second stringer because I don't really see Mike White. I mean, when we saw him at the game, he looked heavy on his feet. He didn't look like he had good pocket presence, and when each throw would happen, it kind of didn't feel secure. I know Skyler threw a pick, however, I mean, it you have to make those mistakes now, and I rather him making those mistakes now and be like, okay, next time I know not to throw it in that type of coverage or that type of window, and then it just builds up character and experience. How about you, sir? Do you feel like we need someone like Ryan Tannehill, which I do think we do, but obviously I don't think the Dolphins are going to go into that direction.
I think we look, I don't think we need Ryan Tannehill. Let's keep it real. Ryan Tannehill, guys, if we look at like you guys make it seem like Ryan Tannehill is like a 20,000 upgrade than Skyler and freaking Mike White. Is he better than Mike White and Skyler? Probably, but not by that much. And then at the end of the day, keep in mind, Skyler's been in the system for what, 3 years now? So it's like, dude, like I don't understand why people don't feel okay with Skyler. I think, remember, worst case, and knocking on wood, is that Tua doesn't get hurt. But if Tua was to get hurt, I think Skyler would not be somebody that we can like just go ahead and sugarcoat and be like, oh no, he's gonna suck. He's not gonna be able to get the job done. He did it before. He actually was the one who actually went and did the did the necessary moves in order for us to win against that Jets game, and we were able to be in the playoffs. So I trust him. I really do. I really do trust Skyler. It may have not looked good that first preseason again, but I think, you know, look, at the heat of the moment, I can tell you this: Skyler will do whatever he needs to do in order for him to be able to help this team. And I know that with the wide receivers that we have in place, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, OBJ, I'm pretty sure the Miami Dolphins they feel confident with him as well. You don't need Skyler to go out there and ball out. All you need Skyler to do is just get the job done. That's all we really need him to do. And then when it comes to Mike White, it's kind of disappointing on Mike White because this is the second year of Mike White, and Mike White showed some signs when he was over there in the Jets. That's one of the reasons why we brought him over last year. But yeah, I mean, it looks like he digressed. That's the problem. It looked like he digressed from last year, and then that's my biggest concern: the fact that he digressed. If he would not have digressed, if he's more of a, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to, like keep up and look better. But he isn't. He isn't. He ain't looking like that. So, do I feel that we need Ryan Tannehill? No, I don't think we don't need him. We don't need him. I think we're fine with who we have, and I think we'll be fine with Skyler or Mike White at the end of the day. I think the biggest thing that we need to worry about is making sure that Tua doesn't get hurt, because whether we have Mike White or Skyler or even Tannehill, some way, somehow they bring him over, we're kind of screwed. That's the only thing. Like, Tua is the QB. Let's just keep it real. Whenever your QB goes down, there's a very, very low percentage that you're going to make the playoffs. So we definitely just need to make sure we take care of Tua, especially now that Tua, I don't know if you've been hearing it, but he's been scrambling more and more in the practices, which is a little bit concerning, sir. And I wanted to go and say and show you guys, y'all need AJ Feely.
Shout out to my boy Cassius Stone.
Oh, Cassius Stone in the building. What's up, homie? And no, let's not go Commanders. So
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, of course.
Who's more durable, Ryan Tannehill, Skylar Thompson, or Mike White? Who's the most durable out of them three?
I think
And then secondly, who gives competition the most to Tua, just in the sense of presence, just presence, having different practices, knowing that there could possibly be another person who is probably not better than you, but has experience, has has been a starting quarterback before. I mean, what do you think about that? You don't think that those are questions you want to kind of have answers for?
Um. Okay. Let me answer one by one. So, who's more durable? Obviously, if you really want my honest opinion, I think the most durable one would be Skyler. Skyler's younger. Skyler, when he got hurt with the Dolphins, it was just a finger issue. It wasn't like he physically got hurt or banged up in the ribs or anything like that. And I think Ryan Tannehill is much older. So I think if I had to like number which one's more durable, I'll say Skyler's durable, then Tannehill, then Mike White. I think Mike White is the least one. When it comes to the whole situation of like, hey, experience and all that stuff, obviously you got to give it to Ryan Tannehill, but there's Mike White and Skyler are no scrubs either. I mean, Mike White, remember, he played a whole season for the Jets pretty much with that year when they were sucking, and he actually gave him a little bit of life. And then he had no offensive line. That's why he was getting destroyed. And that's why he eventually suffered an injury, but he could have easily taken that Jets team to the playoffs at one point in time. That's one of the reasons why I think Miami even picked him up, because they saw how he was leading that group of guys to an actual a playoff spot until eventually he got hurt. And then I would have said Skyler, but like you could say, hey, Skyler's a rookie and stuff, but this is his third year. Out of all three guys, Nick, Skyler is the guy who has the most experience when it comes to this type of offense. You bring Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill is not a quarterback that is known for spot throwing. He's a different type of quarterback. Does he have probably more mobility? Does he have more experience with better receivers and all that stuff? Yes, but when it comes to the chemistry, Skyler has been able to get it in the last 3 years. I also feel that Skyler knows these guys, and if Tua, it has happened before where Tua got hurt and Skyler came in, and these guys felt confident with Skyler in place. So that's the reason why, in my opinion, out of all those three guys, I would still pick Skyler, because I think Skyler is the right person to lead this group of guys in case Tua gets hurt. Again, this is only in case Tua gets hurt. If Tua doesn't get hurt, then we don't have to worry about this stuff. What about you? Do you feel the same way? Do you feel Tannehill's
I mean,
the
I mean,
main guy?
Patrick Mahomes had Chad Henning, and Chad Henning got the work done, and he ain't a 3-year quarterback. He was a vet, So Patrick Mahomes had Alex Smith, and he was a vet. So I mean, I'm just saying, if we have the opportunity to get someone like Ryan Tannehill who had experience and has been a starting quarterback for the Dolphins, I just feel like it sets the vibe for Tua to do better. I mean, who if I was Tua, I'm expect the expectation of Skyler and Mike, but I'm definitely gonna respect the opinion and the expectation of Ryan Tannehill, who's been to the AFC Championship game before. So those things I feel like are valuable to a team. And on top of that, Ryan Tannehill plays pretty good in the cold. I mean, we saw him play pretty well in cold games in the playoffs. And so what happens if we need to? What happens if Tua doesn't come in cold games? Maybe he's maybe injured. Knock on wood again. And we got to go in a cold game and we got to duke it out with Ryan Tannehill. I feel comfortable with Ryan Tannehill in cold games, especially with the narrative that we have with that team, man. I don't know. I just feel like if the opportunity presents itself, why not go for it? But if not, we got Skyler. We
I
got
mean,
Skyler.
again, you're talking about cold and all that stuff. Look at the Jets. Mike White was in the cold over there in New York. It gets cold, so Mike White knows how to play in the cold. You look at Skyler. Skyler played against the Buffalo Bills in that playoff game, and he didn't do so bad. We were one play away from probably pulling that victory out with a guy who is a rookie that had no experience whatsoever that season. I know in my eyes that Skyler could probably get us done. I mean, if let's say the Dolphins make it to the playoffs, which they should, and God forbid Tua gets hurt, I still feel we have a really good shot with Skyler. I'm not gonna go ahead and just rule us out. We almost beat Buffalo, or did you forget about that? And that was a way more better Buffalo than this Buffalo, in my opinion. This year, this Buffalo team looks a little bit shaky, even though all the experts have the Jets number one and Buffalo number two, and then they have Miami number three. So but that's how I look at it right now. And I think the Miami Dolphins are not too nervous about that. I think again, it's only if the Dolphins struggle when it comes to finding the right person in case Tua gets hurt. That's the only thing, because this is Tua's offense. This is Tua's moment to shine. Remember, we paid Tua all this money. He is
That's
the
correct.
man. He's the guy who's supposed to be out there and work his magic. So have high expectations for both him and Mike McDaniel. With that being said, there was some controversy, of course. This happened, I think it was yesterday more than today. It was the fact that Tyreek Hill was interviewed, and they were mentioning him about Noah Lyles and a couple things about the practice. So I'm going to show you guys a video, and you guys could go ahead and tell us what you think about it. Let me go ahead and share this with you guys. So let's make
Feels the
this
same.
bigger.
Yeah, you got to.
So here it is. And here we go. This was Tyreek Hill at Dolphins camp yesterday.
Number one on the top
Number one.
100 players list. How does it feel, Tyreek Hill?
How does it feel? It feels amazing, but life around my house still feels the same.
Yeah, you got a busy house.
I mean, my house busy every second.
Busy practice. We're sitting here. I'm going to start with this. Since you are a Super Bowl champion, you are the number one on the top 100 list. Sprinter Noah Lyles. He said that Super Bowl champs should not consider themselves world champions. What do you think of that?
Noah Lyles can't say nothing after what just happened to him. You know what I'm saying? Then he want to come out and pretend like he's sick. I feel like that's like horseradish. So is this for real right now?
Yeah.
Oh, so for him to like do that and say that we're not world champions of like our sport says like, come on, bro. Like, just speak on what you know about. You know what I'm saying? And that's track.
Would you like to
feel me?
race him when he gets home?
I would beat Noah Lyles.
You think so?
I would beat Noah Lyles.
Like by a lot?
No, I wouldn't beat him by a lot, but I would beat Noah Lyles.
I'd like to see that happen.
And guess what? When I beat him, I'm gonna put on a COVID mask.
So of course, what he's talking about is that Noah Lyles, obviously he won the 100 meter. He barely won the gold medal in the 100 meter, but then he was the favorite in the 200 meter in the Olympics, and he choked. He ended up coming in third place, but it was confirmed that he had COVID. Apparently, he had COVID, and he was kind of like out there and having a hard time breathing and all that stuff. So, Nick, we're gonna play more about this video in a couple minutes, but I wanted to talk about this just for a split second. And number two, if you guys notice on the video, it's funny because Tyreek Hill keeps using the towel to like dry up his legs. I have no idea why he keeps doing it throughout the whole damn interview. It's kind of weird. Anyways, Nick, what did you think? If you had to pick and choose between Tyreek Hill or Noah Lyles, do you think Tyreek Hill has a shot? I mean, he's bragging like he not only has a shot, he's bragging like he would beat him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Tyreek Hill is the best player in the NFL, and when you have that type of acknowledgement by your other teammates, I mean, when it comes to speed, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Noah.
All right, so if you look at Noah Lyles' time frame, he ran a 9.79 in the 100 meter, right? And I'm trying to look to see what Tyreek Hill would. Let me see, Tyreek Hill. Let me see, 100 meters. I wonder if he's ever done 100 meter runs. Doesn't look like Tyreek Hill. How can Tyreek run 100 meters? Okay, so here it is. Actually, I found it right now. This was him in high school. So Noah Lyles had a 9.79 in the Olympics, and Tyreek Hill had a 9.98 second run. So technically, even though Tyreek Hill wants to brag about it, he is a couple of tenths short from what Noah Lyles actually ran in the Olympics. So based on history, Noah Lyles would beat Tyreek Hill. Now, and keep in mind, this was Tyreek Hill's speed clocked when he was in high school. Obviously, that was when he was 18 years old back in 2012. So it looks like, I don't know. Now, Noah Lyles on the 200 meter, where he came in third place. Let me see how fast he ran that one. Noah Lyles' track on that one. Hold on, I'll tell you right now.
Cassius Stone has a point. Lyles, man, just envy and jealousy, bruh. Envy and jealousy.
He's not as relevant as NBA, NFL players He's only relevant every 4 years. That's a very good point, Cassius. But I will say this. I'll tell you this. Noah Lyles' speed when it came to the 200 meter shot. This was a little bit more a longer distance. Remember, you need more, obviously, more cardio, more endurance when you're running. Noah Lyles' speed was clocked at 19.70. Tyreek Hill, 20.14. And again, this was when he was back in high school. Actually, this one is actually clocked in on what was it? This was him back in 2012 US to qualify for the Olympic trials. So on his Olympic trial run, he came with 20.14, and then obviously Noah Lyles came in on 19.17. So technically, I'm sorry, Mr. Tyreek Hill, Noah Lyles would barely squeeze.
And let him know I mean business, because I do mean business.
You're the world champion. You're number one on the top 100 list.
Come
Tell me
on,
about
man.
practice today. I saw Tua didn't get any rest out here. No backups got any reps. What's with that?
Hey, man, like we just trying to build greatness right here. And Tua, he's just one of those guys, comes into work each and every day, prepared, and he knew that today he was going to get all the reps, and that's what he did. He came out here. He worked on what he needed to work on. He told the receivers what, we needed to work on and where we needed to be at. And it was a great day for all of us, man. So I love days like this, like days like this, we wrap it up at the beginning, then we kind of slow down at the end,
Okay.
So it's a great day.
I want to talk to you about something that I hear from every NFL coach, GM, elite player. They say, when I bring up Tyreek Hill, I promise you, the first thing I hear is he doesn't get any credit for how intelligent and how high his football IQ is. Do you feel the same way?
Oh, yeah, man. A lot of people don't know that I scored a very high score on my Wonderlic test, whenever I was doing it for the draft. So a lot of people don't know that.
But I guess I'll ask you this, because I think they overlook it for whatever reason, but also your athleticism, what you can do out on the field.
Right.
I'd like to ask you, if you had you're the best player in the NFL, Tyreek. If you had like a pie chart, right? And you had to say this percentage is my athleticism and this percentage is my IQ. What's what?
Athleticism has to be like 99, bro. I'm sorry. Nah.
Well, so then you do get credit for your intelligence. It's only 1% of what you do. I just see you do.
All right, so I wanted to talk to you about that. That guy, he kind of shot himself in the foot by saying that, because obviously he's like, yo, I'm smart. And then all of a sudden he says his athleticism is what carries him. He should have gone ahead and said maybe 70-30 or 60-40. That way he could go ahead and kind of say, yeah, the way I read the field and all that stuff actually makes sense. I don't understand why he said that. He kind of shot himself in the foot. But let's keep going.
Things out there, where it's going. I'm picturing you as the chief against the Bills in that game. You found the hole, you made it happen. That takes it up here.
Yeah, man. I was very fortunate to have some great coaches. Just being in the league, man. Coming in my rookie year, I had Coach Cully. He was a coach of the Texans, but he was my receiver coach my rookie year, and he always told me the good receivers, they only see one side of the field, meaning that I only see the corner and the safety on my side of the field. But the great receivers like Jerry Rice and so on and so forth, they see all four, which is, both safeties, both corners, or even if you got a nickel. And for me, I've always held myself to try to know what the safeties are doing each and every play, because the safeties tell the story. Whenever you play against guys like myself, or when you play against the Dolphins, when we have so much speed, you have to line up the right way. Either you line up in cover 4, you line up in cover 2, or you got a one high safety. Because if you come down and try to disguise anything, we're gonna run right by you.
Okay, now Nick, let me talk to you here. We saying that you either run a cover 4, cover 2, or a high safety out there, sir, that they have to write the right formation. What is he talking about? There was, when we were playing the really good defenses, they basically fooled our quarterbacks and they were pushing these guys on the ground, and that's why you were seeing the Dolphins struggling when it came to passing the ball, especially to any of these guys, because they were roughing up the wide receivers. What the hell is he talking about?
I think he's just trying to say that when it comes to the speed, they're gonna outrun you, and if you're not on your, on your highest awareness, they can blow by you. But like you said, excuse me, defenses have noticed that, hey, we can't keep up with your speed, but we can be physical. And when you're physical on a man-to-man coverage, line of scrimmage, it's a war zone. the first 5 yards. So I think Tyreek Hill was just trying to show how versatile they can be and how they're gonna improve when it comes to, different type of schemes.
Oh, sorry about that. My screen went whatchamacallit, it went down. It turned.
But what I guess I'll ask you this
Hold
because
on.
I think they overlook it for whatever reason. But
Sorry, my screen went to night night form, so that's why it changed it again. Hold on. So let's see. I think we left off somewhere around here. Maybe let's fast forward a little bit because he starts talking some more stuff. So let's see what he says.
wide receivers better. They're trying to take you down. Let's get into this. The wide receiver competition / draft between co-captains, or not co-captains, between you and Waddle. I want to know who's on your team, and I want to understand the scoring system.
So on my team, I have River, Braylon Saunders, Eric Ezukama.
Okay.
Who else do I have on my team? Oh, Anthony Schwartz.
Who was your first round draft pick?
Oh, River, Craycraft, all day.
Okay.
River, he's one of those guys that's gonna always be in the right spot, and he just doesn't have many MAs. Always reliable hands, and he will make a key block every single day. And the scoring system is easy. Block of the day, touchdowns are +3. Player of the day is +5, which I typically get player of the day because I always go deep. And spectacular catches.
What happened out here today? You even the score because Waddle was saying he's in the lead.
Yeah. So believe this or not, we're down. We're down 6-7, and Waddle team pulled in front of us when we played in the game. So we also count the game too. So we do it like a little scoring system during the game. So
how does it work with Tua? You have this guy who just wants all of y'all start. Everyone, he wants to keep everybody happy. Are you politicking to get the ball more? I mean, he has a lot to do with who's winning on this thing.
Yeah, he does, man. But it's all about whoever can get open like within the time of the play, and usually that's me because I get open so fast. Like he has no choice. But he's like, "Oh, Reek's open. I got to throw it to him." So it's always like that.
Tyreek, I don't understand because last year Tua.
So before we continue with this, I think that was pretty cool that they are doing that little friendly competition between them. That they have 4 receivers and the other 4 receivers, and then they kind of do like a scoring system, and they both see who's doing better. I hope I might be wrong, but I'm assuming I wish the cornerbacks or the safeties or the the linebackers, even the quarterbacks, even Tua, Skyler, and Mike would do these friendly competitions where they'll go ahead and be like, all right, whoever wins today doing this or doing that, at the end has to treat us for dinner or something. You understand me? Because I think that would give them a little bit more, motivation to be like even more on their heads and toes when it comes to these practices, especially at the beginning when, it was just, no pads or anything like that. I thought that was creative, and I think that's something that I'm pretty sure other teams do it. But this was pretty cool. I had not heard, and I didn't know that the Dolphins were doing this. At least the wide receivers. I hope other teammates are implementing it for their positions. I think that would be pretty cool. Let's see what he says about Tua here.
Leads the league in passing. The deep ball has always been clicking. Now people are all of a sudden trying to tell me the deep ball really looks different. It's always been that way.
It's always been like that.
So has there been any? Can I tell you the change that I noticed?
Talk to me.
I feel like he's being a little more mobile. He's getting outside the pocket a little more, and that means you're going to have to run a little bit more, which I have a feeling you like. What does it mean for the DBs that you're going to face this year?
It's going to be scary this year, man. I can see a lot of improvements in Us's game, man. He's done a tremendous job on, just really honing in on his craft like each and every offseason. And then obviously like calling us, like me and Waddle and some of the other guys to come work out with him, man. So it's been a beautiful thing, man. Like each and every year just to be a part of his whole development from year 1 I've been with him to year 3. Like I can say that this year, like I'm gonna call my shot. Like he can be MVP candidate once again and even win the thing, man, because he's just that nice. Like, and I played with the best quarterback, which is Patrick Mahomes. Like, and I'm saying like he's up there in caliber wise. I feel like, anyways, he has that.
I just want to explain this is not a man.
Okay, so let's talk about that, right? So what I mentioned to you is what kind of gets me a little bit afraid, and that's the fact that he's talking about Tua being more of a scrambled quarterback, and in a way that scares me because remember, last time we saw Tua run around, he got hurt. So and of course, this is what the young lady said, not Tyreek himself. It was mostly the girl. I don't remember what her name was, but she was definitely mentioning that she saw Tua now run more often. In your opinion, sir, if we get that type of Tua, the Tua that likes to scramble off a lot more, is that a good thing? Is that a concern? Is that something that we, as Dolphin fans, should worry about this season?
I believe Mike McDaniel has had plenty of conversations with Tua, has plenty of film work that they've practiced, and they've noticed, hey, look, maybe if you're a little bit mobile on this play, you can extend it. If you can be maybe a little bit of less mobile in this play, then you can extend it. He could extend plays even just by having great pocket presence. He doesn't have to cover a lot of ground in order to extend plays. But there's been times where he stays too much in the pocket, and then, the pocket crumbles, and then Tua kind of just, takes the sack. But am I concerned? No. I think Tua is ready for this moment. I think Tua won't be extending plays or getting out of the pocket and doing Josh Allen type of things, or Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. No, I don't think he's going to be doing any of that. Will he require to do sometimes that? Yeah, I think so. And why not? I mean, he now is a little bit more mobile. He's gained more muscle. He learned, I guess this is funny to say, but he's learned how to fall on his back, make sure that he doesn't hit his head, and I think all this has improved him and gotten himself ready for this type of production for this year.
I think for me, it's always going to be a little bit of concern just because of the simple fact that last year he didn't run as much and he was able to last the whole season. Um, Before that, the times that he did run, he got clobbered a couple times. And yes, he has learned how to fall down, which is important. And yes, maybe he's built some muscle, but at the end of the day, movable quarterbacks never end in the right, you know, at the end of the season, they tend to go down and struggle, especially if they're not built. I mean, look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a built guy, and he still struggles a little bit when he gets hit. I mean, a lot of us always say, "Hey, look, that guy gets clobbered, and it's going to be bad." Patrick Mahomes, he's played injured at the end because of some of his mobility out there. So, am I concerned? I just hope. I think Tua flourishes more when he's in the pocket. I just hope that he just continues to do that. That was his forte last year, and keep going. As long as our offensive line is able to protect them and keep them from getting sacked or anything like that, I have no problem with that. The moment that you start creating ideas in your head and you start telling Mike McDaniel, hey, Mike McDaniel starts telling Tua, make a play out there. That's when it gets concerning for me. That's when I feel like maybe Tua might overthink a couple of things, and instead of throwing the ball, he might hesitate and try to run over somebody, or instead of looking one way, he tries to make a play out of nothing, and then here comes an interception. That's what scares me. That will always scare me with Tua, because I think Tua is more productive when he's in the pocket than when he's when he's running outside the pocket. That's for one. Number two is obviously this offensive system is not set up for a scrambling quarterback. It's mostly for timing. So you need Tua to be in the pocket. So let's see. I hope we don't get to see Tua scrambling around. I hope our offensive line does enough to protect them. But only time will tell. As far as the comments that he said about, Patrick Mahomes and all that stuff, I look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. At first, I always thought Tyreek Hill was like talking crap, like he was just trying to like build up Tua. That way, Tua got more confidence, and that's your quarterback. You don't want to talk crap about your quarterback because that's how you start, bringing issues. But this is year three, man, and if I really feel like this guy thinks that Tua is the right man for this team, I'm starting to believe him now. You guys know me. I'm not the biggest fan of Tua, but I do want him to succeed, and the high expectation is, hey man, you got paid. You got to deliver, dude. Like I need you to deliver. Like now more than ever am I putting a lot of trust into it because I want him in particularly to show what he's made of. You got paid for a reason. A lot of people, I'll never forget this. The day the contract went through, I was DJing at Calder Casino, and I had a lot of people come up to me because I was wearing my Dolphin shirt while I was DJing, and they were like, did the Dolphins just pay Tua all this money? And I was like, yeah, they did. They're like, damn, does he really deserve all the money? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. But what I can tell you is he has to shut up a lot of people. You got paid. This is now your time to shut up a lot of people and be like, hey, This is the reason I got paid. We'll see, sir. What did you think? Anything else you wanted to, chime in about this interview, or anything else you wanted to speak about the Dolphins?
I'm just hoping, the motive of Mike McDaniel not letting a lot of uh starters practice. I'm hoping. I mean, I did see the interview that he said that he does take accountability of the player's injury, and throughout the 2 years that he's been coaching, he's been more aware of like when to rest and when not to rest. And I'm hoping whatever type of program he's putting with the vets and the guys who have been here now for multiple years, hopefully it doesn't make them too rusty, and hopefully the team looks, clear cut and ready for game one. And then with the whole Tua thing, is he gonna be more mobile? I don't think so. I mean, last year, you out of 10 throws, you wouldn't see Tua run at all in those 10 throws. Now this year, I feel like out of those 10 throws, he'll run one or two out of them. So that's the type of mobility I feel like he's gonna kind of aim for this year. If he starts, extending plays and starting running out of the quarterback like Josh Allen and stuff, then that's where I'm gonna get concerned. Yeah, because definitely he's not the most durable guy, and that's not his game plan, and that's not the scheme, like you say. That's not our offensive scheme. So hopefully, the vets come back, they play. I'm a little concerned now that OBJ does not practice, but hey, he's a talented guy. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's a third wide receiver. I'm just a tiny bit concerned, but overall, I think team looks pretty solid. Obviously, the O line doesn't look too well. I mean, there's been a roller coaster of events happening. Obviously, with Keon Smith having to get injured, Aaron Brewer getting injured, um, having Tiara Tart leaving, having Shaq Barrett retiring. So there's been a lot of things going on, but at the same time, we've been trying to plug and play when it comes to the players. I do know they picked up a Philadelphia defensive tackle. I'm not sure what's his name, but he's from Florida State. Looks like they're trying to replace Tart with that pickup that we did today. So hey, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It seems like the starters are gonna play a little bit more in this Washington Commanders game. So I'm a little bit excited. Let's see. Let's see how much they play.
Yeah, no, and to kind of piggyback on what you just said, news did break out today that Tierra Tart was released. Obviously, a lot of people saw him as like more of a low risk, high reward type of guy, especially coming out of Tennessee. Mike McDaniel went on paper just saying that at this point, he just wasn't fitting the scheme. And it wasn't a situation when it came out to like, his effort, because there was a lot of rumors that was one of the reasons why he got released by Tennessee, because he wasn't showing a lot of effort out there. But Mike McDaniel didn't say that that was the case. Keep in mind, Tart did not play against the Falcons, and he was listed behind Benito Jones. So I think the Dolphins did have some type of like plans for him to play. It just didn't work out. With that being said, they did sign somebody. They signed a former FSU Robert Cooper.
Cooper, there you go.
That was a guy they brought in. He had 123 tackles and 13 for loss at FSU from 2018 to 2022. And this is also notes that I got from Barry Jackson. He spent time with the Eagles and Seahawks over the past year. When it came to the injuries, Cameron Wolf actually pointed them out. He said that Jalen Ramsey and Javon Holland were day to day. Mike McDaniel isn't concerned about Odell because he isn't running any routes and practicing. They all want him full to go, no setbacks. And the other note that Cameron Wolf mentioned was that Isaiah Wynn was or has compounding leg injury working back. So it looks like Isaiah Wynn is one of our guys who could be maybe not playing against the Washington game this Saturday. And then on top of that, if it doesn't get any better, he might miss maybe the beginning of the season. So we're gonna have to look at what they do with these injuries. I do want to say that I hope to see some of the starters play on Saturday. I think this is the game that they should play, because at the end of the day, this is I think they have one more preseason game after this, and then they start the regular season. So, and then I think the last one is probably an away game. So, Cassius says, guys, are you going to be there on Saturday? Yes, we will both be out there, showing love to the Miami Dolphins. Um, I want to thank my brother because he actually reminded me. He was like, Frank, are you going on Saturday? I was like, what's going on Saturday? And he was like, the game. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So I had to, like, I always got to look at my schedule to see what's going on. So,
Cash is
but
a big Commanders fan, so I'm hoping we see him out there.
oh, big time, big time. Well, sir, if you want to find us, we'll be out there. Also shout out to my boy Jamie, aka DJ Mortal. He'll be DJing out there as well for the Miami Dolphins. So hopefully I get to see him as well. DJ, he's a great DJ. He's one of my mentors who taught me how to DJ. So definitely will show him some love. But sir, let's talk two more things and then we'll wrap it up. Obviously, the biggest thing that happened this month was, of course, the Olympics, right? And this is probably the last time we'll talk about Olympics until 4 years from now when it comes to Los Angeles. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to bring up to this, Nick, was of course the controversy that we've all been talking about. And a lot of people have said, hey, can it be? Did they do a good job or did they not? It's the USA basketball team, both the men and the women. So let's talk a little bit about this because this is, I think, where the heated argument is going to happen between you and me. So this is what happened. So obviously the United States team, they beat Serbia and they barely beat Serbia. I think they beat them by like 4 or 5 points. And then they went and they beat France by like 12 points. I think that was the score. Sir, when I told you and I said, hey, look, Serbia's going against the United States and they're giving the United States a run for their money, you said to me that this is kind of disappointing, that you were disappointed on the men's basketball team because the men's basketball team should be smoking Serbia. And I'm assuming you must have thought that maybe they should have smoked the crap out of France as well. Is that how you feel, or has that changed since they've won the gold medal?
Oh, definitely. Definitely it changed. The expectation was to win gold, and that's what they did. But there there sometimes needs to be a moment where you have to reflect and look at what they almost did, and which was lose and having to play in the highest level of basketball all around the world on an annual basis. And almost losing to Serbia was concerning. And when you and I spoke about it, obviously my expectation was, yo, these guys are supposed to smoke these European teams just because of the amount of talent they have in each individual team. Even though there hasn't been that much chemistry or practice, I still think, having LeBron, uh, 5-time or 4-time champion Steph Curry, 3-time champion KD, 5-time champion LeBron James, finalist Devin Booker. We have even a guy who won the finals last year on the bench, and Jason Tatum. I mean, you expect the team to kind of dominate the Olympics, but at the end of the day, they got the job done. I'm happy, and we'll see them. Hopefully, this is probably their last Olympics. For the likes of Curry, LeBron, and KD, to be honest with you.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think the United States did a bad job in the
They did it.
Olympics. And at the same time, I don't feel that the United States should have smoked Serbia either. I know they have way more better talent when it comes to Serbia, but just because they have way more better talent doesn't mean the Europeans out there can't compete against the Americans. I mean, for love of God, Jovic is was the MVP of the league, and he was playing for Serbia. The United States are having issues when it comes to finding big men to play against, to represent the United States. They had to literally convince Joel Embiid to not play for France in order for him to come and play for the United States, because if not, your two centers would have been Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo. And what did Bam Adebayo do? Bam Adebayo didn't do nothing, to be honest with you. No offense to Bam, but it's the truth. He didn't do anything out there. So when you look at this team and you look at the age group of these guys. I mean, LeBron James is hitting 40. He hits 40 in December. You have Stephen Curry, who's up there in age. Kevin Durant is not young. You guys are making it seem like these guys are in their prime. These guys are, this was their last hurrah. I'm just happy that they won. Like, I don't expect this team to like smoke anybody. Especially when the other team has NBA quality players. If you look at the stats, obviously on that Serbia game, Stephen Curry led the team with 36 points. The next two guys that led on that particular game was LeBron James and Joel Embiid. They both, one of them had 19 and the other one had 16. The future, right? If you look at the future, the guys who supposedly are going to carry the team afterwards, Jason Tatum did not play. Tyrese Halliburton did not play. Anthony Edwards had 2 points. I mean, Bam Adebayo had 0 points. It's 4 years from now, especially in Los Angeles. That's when, honestly, Nick, we're not going to win. I can tell you that right now. Because if you have LeBron James and Steph Curry holding it down, and these guys probably, I mean, for sure, I don't think LeBron is going to be there. But Steph Curry, he might not be in this team. And Kevin Durant, I'm not sure. I don't know, man. I don't see these guys winning in LA, especially without the leadership of LeBron James and without Stephen Curry having to freaking go all out and actually, carry this team. I just don't see it, man. So in 4 years, unless somebody doesn't, and remember, you got Luka Doncic is another guy who's European. You have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's also European. Obviously, the guy from France, the center that they got. What's his name? I'm having a brain fart when it comes to Joel. Wembanyama. So you have all these guys who are gonna have 4 years under their belt. I think that's when we're gonna have issues. That's when we could go ahead and criticize, because then now we're gonna be like, hey, what is our future stars doing? Now, on the women's side, sir, the women only won by 1 point against France. Now, do you see that as, hey, it's a good showing overall, they won the gold medal, or do you feel disappointed on the women?
I think with the women is a little bit different. I don't have that high of expectation, just because of the level of dominance that they have here in the United States. The WNBA isn't as big as the NBA, and so I think my expectations are a little bit different. They're a little bit skewed. So I'm just happy they won. Now, if the United States soccer team in their prime with all these great players, female superstars, and they barely beat a country where, I don't know, Morocco or something, and they still win gold medal, I'm still fine with that. But there should always be a little bit of a level of concern, and that was just how I saw it when it came to the men's basketball team.
All right, so now we're switching gear to the women, and when we look at the women's, right, I feel like that's a disappointment, and I'll tell you why. First and foremost, you barely squeaked off a win against the French women, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. The WNBA, yeah, it's not as big as the NBA, but that's all American women, I'm assuming. I have never heard any of these French girls playing in the WNBA. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. They might play maybe one of them or two of them plays in the NBA, but I didn't think any of them played in the NBA. And for you to just beat France by 1 point, and the only reason they beat France by 1 point was because the girl who shot the final shot a 3-pointer, but her foot was on the line. It went in. If not, this game would have gone to overtime. So when you look at that type of stuff, now those women I do criticize. I do want to go ahead and say, yo, that's not a good look for the WNBA. And it goes to show you that sometimes the women are taking maybe these teams a little bit for granted. Yes, this was the only game that they struggled, obviously. But France went 4-2 in the Olympics. The United States women went 6-0. But dude, you almost lost. Like you were in a dogfight.
Were they down by 16 heading into the fourth quarter?
Heading into the fourth quarter. Okay, so in the first quarter it was 15-9, then United States, and then they got outscored in the second half. So I mean, the second quarter was 16-10, and then in the third quarter it was 18-20. So it was kind of like, and then on the last quarter it was 23-22. So if I'm looking at if I'm doing my calculations right, let me pull out my calculator. Sorry, my 9 plus 16 plus 18. The French girls were at 43 points and the Americans were at mm, 45 points. So they were just beating the French girls by 2 points heading into the fourth quarter. So
And
it was a
The United States were losing against Serbia by 14 heading into the fourth quarter.
yeah, Nick, but keep in mind, man, the United States men were playing against players that also play in the NBA. And this is the argument I was having with my sister was that back in 1992, the United States men smoked everybody. But the reason the United States men smoked everybody in 1992 is because what there was maybe like 3%, 4% of the players in the NBA that were European. And that was the first year that NBA players were allowed to play in the Olympics. So when you interview these guys from all around the world, they were actually when they played the US Olympic team, they were just thrilled. They were getting autographs because they never in their wildest dreams ever thought that they would even be playing against this type of caliber of players. That's not how it is in today's world, bro. There's a lot of friggin' teams out, a lot of European teams that have already seen the United States lose. And on top of that, they don't come with that like, hey, we're afraid of the United States. It's more of like, yeah, we could beat them. This has happened. We've lost to Argentina before. We've lost to Puerto Rico before. We've lost to a couple teams a couple years ago. So it's not like this is you know, an act of surprise for a team to contend and take the United States men to the brink of beating them. When it comes to the women, that's different, dude. I've never seen any team like call it this close against the women. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never seen it. I don't think I've seen it. I think the issue here was that I think these women took it for granted. And I'll tell you this right now. If European women start making their way to the WNBA, I could tell you right now, the United States women are in a little bit of trouble. Now, they didn't bring obviously the two rookies that are like obviously Caitlin Clark
Angel Reese and
and
Caitlin Clark.
yeah, they didn't bring them. So I think that was the first mistake that they did, especially since they brought in Diana Taurasi. And Diana Taurasi is like 40 years old,
Sir,
man.
there was no mistakes, sir. They're gold medalists. There's no mistakes there.
Come on, man. Why are you bringing a 40-year-old to go compete in the Olympics?
They got the
Like,
gold medal job done, sir.
they did, but it was kind of scary out there. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was
That's
kind
all
of
I'm
scary.
saying. That's all I'm saying with the men's team too. It's kind of a little scary out there, bro. It was a
But
little scary.
I
But I
expect
didn't lose hope. I didn't lose hope.
But I expect the guys to be in a dogfight against Serbia or maybe even against France. I
Same,
get that.
same.
I
Me
don't see
too.
that in the women. No, not in the women, bro.
Same.
Who in the NBA is from out of the United States? I mean, I would have to Google it, but I don't see that there's tons of women outside the United States competing in.
The United States shouldn't have been in that position, and that was the only reason I'm saying. I didn't say I was disappointed or nothing like that. I was more concerned because at the end of the day, we show that we have the most players that play in the highest level of basketball. So hey, they got the job done. So I'm happy, and they should continue dominating in their own way because they dominated in the
And,
final.
and you want to know
But
something? And you want to know something? I think the reason why I also kind of criticize a little bit more the US women is because they don't make that much money in the WNBA. So sometimes they do have to travel and play outside the United States. So they already are used to these hard fouls. They're already used to playing rough, getting pushed around, and fouls not being called. So they have that experience. The United States men don't go out of the United States to go play in Europe. So they don't have the ticky tack.
sir,
We know that the WNB the NBA is ticky tack fouls here, ticky tack fouls there. But the WNBA girls, they all know, hey, look, check this out. We gotta freaking bust our ass out there and we could handle this. So I'm telling you again, I kind of feel like, hey, why did the WNBA girls struggled? Or why did the US women struggled against France? I know they were in their home field, their home soil, but it was just a little bit of concern. I hope that the United States women realize that, and hopefully in 4 years it doesn't even come this close. Because again, they only won by 1 point. This game could have gone
sir,
to
at least they
overtime.
won something. What did the U.S. soccer team do, sir?
But Nick, man, come on, man. You can't compare the US soccer team to the US basketball because at the end of the day, US soccer is not as big as in basketball here. We know that. And the United States has been trying to climb that mountain for years now.
It has more resources than the women's basketball team. That's for sure.
Who? The
The
women's
U.S.
soccer
soccer
team?
team
Yeah, but not
and
the
the
men.
women's soccer team too.
The men's soccer team sucks. They can't. They don't have the same. They don't have the same drive, I think, as in other countries do. I really don't think so. And I've already told you what I feel about when it comes to the United States men's soccer team. They need to start with their coaching. I think their coaching is the biggest issue that they have. And once they find a good coach, they'll be able to win. Look at what happened. And now that we're talking soccer, let's jump into soccer. Look what happened with Inter Miami. They lost. They were up 2-0 against uh
Cucho, baby.
against Columbus Crew, and then they choked. They went ahead and they got eliminated. So now they're not even able to defend their championship. Talk to me, sir. Were you disappointed at the fact that you saw the Inter Miami have a 2-goal lead on this team and then blow it off and lose 3-2?
I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of people feel like when you're up 2-0, you have a really good chance of winning the game. But that's where you build the most pressure. I mean, having to be up 2-0 is very intimidating. Obviously, you had Columbus Crew come in and hit that first goal, and then the defense of Inter Miami isn't always the most secure. So when they found out, shit, we already gave them one. If we give them one more, they're gonna tie, and we were up 2-0. So mentally, that can be very drainful. I'm not shocked that the defense collapsed. There hasn't been any adjustments in my eyes where I can feel secure for Inter Miami. Obviously, the offense was there, but when Matias Rojas got subbed out, Suarez had to take over, and he had opportunities, but he didn't equalize. So am I disappointed? Sure, I am a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. This team hasn't had reliable defense. There hasn't been any additions to the defense, and I hope this is more of a wake up call for them. Obviously, they already won this shit last year. Their main thing is really the MLS Cup when it comes to the season, the MLS Trophy, which I believe they're in second place, if I'm not mistaken, or first. So I think that's more of where they're trying to kind of focus on, since they already won this trophy with Messi the year before.
So you are a little bit disappointed, though.
I am a little disappointed, yes. Um,
So then
but
explain to me this then, sir. Why are you not a little bit disappointed on the Colombian soccer team women? Because they were up 2-0 against Spain, and you said that you were really disappointed in the Colombian women because the Colombian women were not able to hold that 2-0 lead, while the United States men, not the United States men, Inter Miami wasn't able to hold it, and you're only a little disappointed on them. What's the difference,
because
sir?
Colombia has great talent, man, and they've made the additions towards the team to be great. Obviously,
And
Linda
Inter
wasn't.
Miami has it?
Who have they added Frank defensively to improve that defense? Tell me.
I don't think they've added anybody to help the
Exactly.
defense.
They haven't added anybody, but
But they all, but they
Colombia
all,
has collectively made these women grow and play as a solid core group of solid, talented young ladies, bro. And it was disappointing that obviously we didn't have enough in us to finish the game, especially that this game, when it came to Inter Miami, they gave up the goals. It was minute 61, then minute 71, and then minute 61, minute 71, and then like minute 80 something, like 82. Like you had opportunities to bounce back, especially with players like Luis Suarez, and obviously it didn't pan out.
but
But
Nick, the defense, they had a 5-3-2 formation. They had 5 defenders back there. They had Jordi Alba. They had Sergio Busquets. They had Aviles, which is not a bad defender out there. And none of them could go ahead and protect
Frank,
this
they're the
2-0 lead.
defending MLS champions. They won the MLS last year.
I agree with you 100%. But they were up 2-0, sir. They were up 2-0 going into what? They scored the second goal in minute 69. So they were up going into minute 68, 2-1. I mean, they were up 2-0. They scored. Inter Miami scored a minute 62. So that means that they had a 2-0 victory, and then they went into a defensive formation. They had 5 guys back there, Nick. 5. I don't care that it's Columbus Crew is the MLS champions. You had 5 defenders, and you had 3 really good defenders, which was Sergio Busquets, fucking Jordi Alba, and Aviles, that are their best defenders. Now, Allen and that other kid, that Wayne guy or whatever, he sucks. He is trash. Ever since they got rid of this guy, they've struggled on that right wing when they got rid of the American. But besides that, I mean, I think this is more of a big collapse. You're making it seem like it's not a collapse. This is a huge collapse. You
We
were up
didn't have Messi,
2-0.
bro. We
It
didn't
does.
have Messi.
So we had Sergio, we had Luis Suarez out there. Luis Suarez wasn't even able to do anything out there for us, man.
We
We
won.
and don't forget that we have.
We won the cup. We won the cup with Messi, not with Luis Suarez, bro.
Don't forget that we have, if not the best, definitely top 3 goalkeepers in the MLS. So you're telling
smoking
me,
crack, bro. You're smoking crack.
are you disrespecting a Calendar? You think Calendar is not the top 3 goalkeepers in the MLS right now, sir? He is one of the top 3, definitely, if not one.
If he had a good defensive foreman in front of him, sure, but he's not, because he just doesn't have a good defense.
Dude, why are you hating on this? It's a collapse, sir. Let's just keep it real. It's a collapse on the defense. It's a collapse on Tata, because Tata went ahead and went to that formation, but they typically don't go to that formation. It's a collapse, and I don't care that you didn't have Messi. You've been balling without him, and you honestly were gonna win because Messi wasn't playing. You were up 2-0. Like, come on, like, how is it possible?
I don't appreciate you throwing that Colombian soccer team. I mean, I think that's another type of level, another type of topic to discuss at another time. But
I had to throw
when
the
it comes to
Colombian
Inter
soccer team
Miami,
because I wanted to compare them with you, sir, because you were criticizing the Colombian soccer team, saying, yo, those girls have choked because they've made it to the Copa America final. Copa America, Copa America final, Copa America gold. I'm sorry, gold final, gold cup final. They were in a dogfight in the World Cup a couple years, the last World Cup, and you were saying that these women have reached their top, that they've capped, they've reached their ceiling, and your concern is that the Colombian women have your fear is that Colombia has reached their point where, they've reached their peak and they're not going to win anything. So if you're going to go that far to go ahead and criticize the Colombian women and say that this was a devastating situation because the Colombian women were up 2-0 on Spain and Brazil beat Spain, you're not going to go ahead and say this is a collapse also for the guys for Inter Miami? Of course this is a collapse. It's the same situation. The only difference is that Inter Miami won a championship, but that's because of Messi. But at the end of the day, you still have a collapse. It's a collapse. They should have won that game, hands down. Just like the Colombian women should have won that game too. Let's keep it real. I agree. I will concede to say that both the Colombian women and Inter Miami collapsed. They both teams should have won those games, and both of them allowed the other team to come back and beat them. All right, let's talk a little bit about, of course, your team, sir, and that is Real Madrid. And of course, Real Madrid had a great game tonight. They went ahead and started kind of slow. It was a little bit concerning because they weren't scoring. But then in the second half, you got finally some movement, and you got Valverde scoring in a freaking amazing setup. A little I guess dribble by Vinicius, bro, that he just found Valverde there. And then bam, you finally got your first goal from Mbappe with the first goal as a Real Madrid player. Sir, talk to me. And how excited were you that you saw your team Real Madrid? And now I'm not gonna lie to you, they're kind of my. I'm always been a Real Madrid fan, but not like a diehard Real Madrid fan. But I like Mbappe and Real Madrid, so they're becoming more one of my favorite teams now in La Liga. What did you think about that game? And talk to us. What was going through your mind definitely after that first half?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful to see finally put an end to a chapter of will Mampe sign with Madrid or not? And it's finally here. I thought I was dreaming, but nah, man. Our boy Mampe is a Blanco, and come on, sir. You're really gonna say you were concerned in the first half? Remember, man, Real Madrid doesn't play in the first half. They step up their
That's
game in the second. They always find a way to win. And they went up to another gear. Obviously, Atalanta's still a great team. Were the ones who won the Europa. They were the ones who defeated that Bayern Leverkusen team that went off undefeated for like 35 plus games. So obviously that opponent has great players as well from the other side of the field. But overall, man, it was a great game. I'm a little bit surprised that they left Vinicius there on the left wing. I thought they were gonna do more of a two striker formation with Mampe and Vinicius up front, but they continued with their 4-3-3. I believe is what they played. They had Rodrigo on the right side, they had Vinicius on the left, and they're kind of doing what Jose Mourinho did to Cristiano Ronaldo when he got here. And it was, hey, you're no longer a left winger, you're no longer a winger in general, you're a striker, you're a forward, you're gonna be the one who's gonna be creating chances and making the opportunities and scoring when the opportunity is there. So I think this is something that Mampe has envisioned, and hopefully this system that Ancelotti has for him in the upcoming season is effective. And they look good, man. They look fast. They look really fast.
You know what I liked about the most? I'm not gonna lie to you. Was Drew Bellingham gave obviously we lost Nick for a second there, but Drew Bellingham gave Mampe the assist, and when he gave Mampe the assist, did you see the face in Drew Bellingham? Dude, that guy was thrilled, bro. He was so excited to be able to make that pass to Mampe, and Mampe was able to score. It was a great freaking goal. On top of that, you saw the whole team come and hug him and be like excited to have this guy with us. I mean, that in it by itself was a very good moment. Nick, if you come back, let me know. I'm gonna take you out for a second, and then I'll bring you back on if you decide to, if you're able to come back. So that was the moment right there when we were able to finally see Real Madrid stand up and basically just, you know, celebrated the team. And I thought they did a phenomenal job when it came to playing as a cohesive team. And this is only gonna help Mampe, because Mampe, dude, the guy scored on in the first game. You know, it's one of the biggest things that we wanted to see, especially for him, and we want him to be successful when it comes to his situation here in obviously in Real Madrid. But I'm gonna tell you this as well. You said it first than anybody, and Nick, thank you for coming back. They went with that 3-3, that 4-3-3 formation, right? Here's my concern. There is rumors out there that Vinicius is being offered money to go play in Saudi Arabia, and I wanted to share this with you guys. This is, of course, $382.5 million is annual salary being proposed to Vinicius. Um, on top of that, I want to share this as well with you guys, is that and when I mean he, I mean Vinicius, if he was to sign or move on to the Saudi Arabia League, you're looking at, so he's being offered 5-year contract worth $1 billion to play for Al Hali by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. If he accepts it, he would earn 4.2 million a week, 600,000 a day, $25,000 in an hour, and $416 a minute. We've been streaming for an hour and 33 minutes. And imagine if we were getting this type of money while we were streaming this podcast. Talk to me, sir. Do you think Vinicius is gonna make the decision and leave Real Madrid?
Nah, man. He's still gonna go and build that legacy that he's been building in Real Madrid. And obviously, all the money in the world is great, but let's not act like Real Madrid is not paying him a lot of money too. So, I feel like Vinicius still feels like he can improve and become that next guy to replace Neymar. And so we'll see. We'll see if he would ever take a contract like that. He would, obviously, in the later down his years like Neymar, but in the meantime, he's still young, bro. He's only like 24. So I don't see anytime soon.
The only thing I could say is, and I just did the calculation, if we were getting paid $416 a minute, right now we would have made $38,688 in this hour and 30 plus minutes that we've been streaming. The only thing I could see here is Vinicius. A lot of people consider him the number one player in Real Madrid, and now he kind of has to take a backseat to Mbappe. So if there could be some friction or some jealousy, one or the other, I think Vinicius is still going to be very strong for Real Madrid, but this is Mampe's team now moving forward. That's the only thing I could see making him kind of get frustrated and say, hey, if he feels like, hey, I deserve to be the number one player in Real Madrid, then he might just consider it and be like, you know what, I'll take the money and I'll run with it. It's better to get paid somewhere than the other. And he's still young, like you said. So he could do. Obviously, they offered him 5 years. If he wanted to, he could probably do what 2 years or something like that, and then eventually come back to a team in La Liga or in another one of the five big leagues in Europe, and it won't hurt him. To be honest,
Hey, I mean, he has ex-team members out there. He will probably ask and see if how's the culture change over there. What's the culture shock? Obviously, we've seen players like James and Karim Benzema and who's another Madrista that probably went over there. I'm not thinking of right now. I forgot who else, but they kind of haven't been liking it over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he he's like, yeah, $1 billion is great, but is it really worth it, man? We shall see. It would be crazy though. It would. I honestly see Rodrigo leaving first, then Vinicius, and not to the Saudi Arabia league. I see Rodrigo leaving to another team like a Premier League, like a Chelsea. Honestly,
man, that would be interesting if you see Rodrigo leave and then you see also Vinicius leave. That would kind of make it a little bit difficult for Real Madrid to replace those two guys, because I still think Vinicius is the second best player on that team, and then obviously Rodrigo, he's still a contender. He might not be Rodrigo. I always look at Rodrigo like a Di Maria. He is in the right place at the right time. He's not the superstar, but you still need him. He's gonna always get a lot of eyes.
I don't think they'll leave anytime soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of them leaves in the next 3 years or so.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to talk about? I know EPL starts this weekend. We got a big game, Chelsea versus Man City. I hope my team can go ahead and make that win. I highly doubt it. I really honestly feel Man City is going to take it. But we will start talking a little bit more about EPL and obviously La Liga. La Liga starts, I think, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think La Liga starts tomorrow. There's a couple games, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of games for. I know August 15th. I think it was La Liga. Yeah. So
tomorrow we actually there's two games in La Liga. You have Getafe playing against Athletic Club, and you have Real Betis versus Girona. So those are really good matches. And then on the as a matter of fact, sir, tomorrow we might see the Colombian Drogba back out there. Krasnodar is actually playing tomorrow, so that would be really good. And then obviously on Saturday, we do have a couple English Premier League games. Like I mentioned, the game that everybody will be tuning in, which will take place on Sunday, actually, is Chelsea versus Man City. I won't be able to watch it because I'll probably be flying out and I'll be over there in California. But the other games that are happening is Liverpool fighting against Ipswich. That's the new team that just made it into first division. Arsenal goes against the Wolves. Everton versus Brighton. That's a pretty good matchup as well. And then when it comes to the La Liga, you got Sunday, you got Mallorca versus Real Madrid. So it should be a very good, interesting game happening. And then Monday, Leicester City's fight is going against Tottenham. So that should be a really good game as well. Sir, anything else you wanted to talk about in reference to our soccer segment?
I'm just curious on who's gonna take over that Toni Kroos role in Real Madrid. I'm wondering who's gonna have that guy who is gonna make the pass in order to have that person create the assist to give the opportunity to the striker who's gonna make the goal. And that's where I'm kind of curious where they're gonna head. Who's gonna be that player? Obviously, Modric is already a veteran. He's gonna be a guy coming off the bench. But who out of the three between Camavinga, which unfortunately he's injured, he suffered a strained ligament in his left or right knee, so he's out for 8 weeks. But that midfield. Who is it going to be? Jude Bellingham taking over the Tony Cruz role? Is it going to be Federico Valverde who's going to be taking over the Tony Cruz role, or is it Tchouaméni? Or we're going to see a more frequent Tchouaméni
He
when
didn't
it
do
comes to
bad
the
today.
midfield?
Bellingham didn't do. I think out of all of them, Bellingham was the man of the match, if I'm not mistaken. So he really did really well out there. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think we relied heavily on Bellingham a lot, Real Madrid, and I think now that Momp is the number 9, I think Bellingham is going to be the guy who kind of takes a back seat and kind of is going to be the one dishing those
And
passes out there.
I'm just excited for Colombian players. We have obviously David Cabal, who's from Juvie. He's gonna be playing in this upcoming season. Obviously, we just heard Mosquera, 19-year-old defender. He just got picked up by Aston Villa. Our boy John Jada Duran. What would his journey be this year in the EPL? Will Luis Diaz go to Barcelona, or will he stay in Liverpool,
Well, they were
or
Liverpool
or will
announced that
he
that
move
was
to Man City? Because I've been hearing Man City's after him.
yeah, but
So
I don't think Lucho will go to Man City because I don't think Liverpool will allow that quality of a player go over to the competition. I did hear about the Barcelona and stuff, but I mentioned that like Liverpool kind of shut those rumors down, saying that was not true and that was not happening, and that Lucho Diaz was an Arsenal player no matter what. He wasn't gonna be heading anywhere. But I mean, I guess if the price is right, that Liverpool is willing to go ahead and sell him. The good thing about Liverpool is that they're competing this year in Champions League, so Lucho's gonna get a lot more
playing
practice
time.
and playing
Mhm.
time when it comes to those games, compared to this past year when they weren't in Champions. I think they were in Europa Cup. But overall, man, it's good. It's good to have soccer back, regular La Liga and EPL and all that. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about in that case, and we're also gonna be able to talk a lot about obviously the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, the first game of the season right around the corner with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then of course, a lot of more things up and coming. Right around the corner, we'll have basketball back, and then hockey, the defending champions, the Florida Panthers. We got to see how Inter Miami holds up if they're able to continue their run in the MLS. To answer your question from earlier, yes, they're still number 1 in the East for the MLS with 53 points. Second place is Cincinnati. And when it comes to the whole MLS, they still are number 1. LA Galaxy only has 49 points, so they're still above everybody. So we got to see where they go with that. And yeah, pretty much that's pretty much our episode for today. I want to thank everybody who came in. Cassius Stone, official DJ Memo, Sean Stanley. And then if there's anybody else who tuned in on the Twitter account or X account or on Twitch or on YouTube, we really, really appreciate you guys checking out the show. Remember, if you get a chance, always don't forget to hit that thumbs up, that like button, and then also subscribe and share with your friends. And if you have any ideas or if you want to be part of the show, just hit us up. Let us know. You could either hit me at Fresco Music, or you could hit up my brother DiTrapio at That Way Nick. We both are always thrilled to have more and more guests. I was gonna have 2 guests today, but unfortunately they weren't able to make it on time. So it was it was a little bit difficult for me to have them over. So that's why.
Boo!
So I think my brother knows who I'm talking about. But when it comes to next week, so next week, like I said, we might not have a show. I'm gonna be traveling. I'll be in California. I'll be in the West Coast, and Wednesday is when I actually fly back into Miami. So it depends on how tired I am or at what time I'll get here. If I'll be able to go ahead and do the podcast with my brother, unless my brother wants to do it solo, or maybe he wants to get somebody and do it with him for that for next Wednesday. Maybe there's a chance, and then I'll just I'll pass the bucket, and maybe this could be your first day that you do the host, more hosting than myself. But anything else you want to say before we head on out, Mr. DiTrapio?
No, sir. You can catch me on X at That Way Nick, or you can sometimes catch me on Twitch at the Trapio with 3 threes. I like to play EFC, and if you guys want to, play a match or two, my PSN is the Trapio with 3 O's.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time for episode 36. If not next week, then the following week. And of course, we got NFL, baby. We got that NFL. So we're ready. We're ready. So for everybody here, and let me talk to you, me and my brother, thank you so much. Always tune in. And thank you for showing us that love. Till next time, guys. Take care and peace out.
Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.